Hello and welcome to another episode of ohmTown's daily news show. Hello, my name is Mayor Watt. That's what I go by on Twitch and elsewhere. I'm the mayor of ohmTown. That's that site right there. I'm now on YouTube. I'm now on Apple Podcasts. I'll be adding elsewhere. You can also view all the news over on ohmTown.com. That's where all of this today and every day at 6 o'clock comes from, ohmTown.com. I'm going to click the link. This is also a podcast. This gets converted into a podcast. And so I'm going to be making references to links. And unfortunately, in the podcast, you don't get those links except in the description. And I'll be adding them each episode now. You'll be about 35 or 40 episodes out from getting the links. But I'll be doing that from now on. Same thing with the YouTube channel. YouTube.com/ohmTown will take you to my channel. Well, to ohmTown's channel. I don't really push me as the personality on it, but it is what it is. I'm the only host right now. But today's show is the day before Valentine's Day. It's the day of the Super Bowl in the United States. So around 6:30, halfway through my show, if not even before, everybody that could possibly want to listen to the show might want to just go elsewhere. But you never know. Maybe somebody will come into my chat. I see a couple of people in here now, but I haven't heard from them. So say something in chat and let me know you're there. That'd be great. All that said, the way that this works is ohmTown.com is a news aggregator that filters things into 6 categories: create, news, education, entertainment, social, and technology. Within those 6 categories are channels. Those channels will eventually evolve into hourly shows here on Twitch and channels on YouTube and podcast. Each one of these has a unique attitude, a unique topic, a unique everything. If you are an author, there's a channel for it. If you are an artist, there is a channel for it. If you are interested in business, there are channels there. If you're interested in movies or learning something about time and time travel or law or government contracting. I know that one is really niche, but guess what? A lot of people don't know about it and have a lot of questions about it. Even more have complaints about it. And I'd like to address it. And it really will be a long-term thing as long as there are people that are interested in it. And I aggregate news into that channel. Same thing with tech. I'm really into tech. It's one of the 3 main categories of professional development that I'm in. It's one of the main degrees that I have, one of the areas of research that I conduct. And me as mayor, my 3 main categories of interest are business, technology, and society. And sometimes you'll hear me jump up on a soapbox and start talking about stuff that might be even related to it in some distant way, but that's called associative thinking. That's something that I practice. We're all tied together in some way. Sometimes we get distracted by the politics or just life in general from that fact that we are all tied together. And I hope this show kind of shows that connectedness. That said, let's get on with the show. The very first link is in the Smack Talk channel. There is no show for that yet. I'm only doing this 1-hour show every day for now. I hope to increase that. Another show from the 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock hour, and so on. Eventually, I hope to get enough audience that I can do this more full time. But a lot of people do this for years before they can change to full time, and I'd like to do it sooner. But that's up to everybody hearing this and wanting to have a discussion live on Twitch and through social media, YouTube and Twitter and Apple Podcasts and so on. So let's keep moving forward. Apple's M2 chip, what to expect from the next silicon evolution. You click the link and you might hear that in the podcast. I say click the link because that's exactly what I do. I take the viewer over to the source of the news and show them the article itself. I don't read the entire article. My aggregator doesn't grab the entire article, only a snippet to try and tease you into going over to the website. But I want to have a conversation both in the discussion boards on ohmTown.com and in the various locations that I am hosting this show. So there's a little bit of a snippet from each of my sources. Andrew O'Hara is the author for this article. And arriving later this year, Apple's M2 chip will be the successor to Apple's first Mac-specific chip, the M1. If you don't know it, it actually has an ARM core. The root architecture of the M1, M2 is ARM, but then extensively modified to fit the needs of Apple. And that license is apparently quite expansive. And almost ARM was purchased by a competitor to Apple. And we don't know really what is going to shake out from that. But it fell through. And so maybe Apple will just buy ARM. That would be an interesting solution because they would get full control of ARM and then can license the ARM to other people as long as, nothing impinges the the strategic advantage of owning the ARM license. Who knows? I mean, that could be some kind of residual income because they're licensing at the rate that Apple would need for their own return on investment. Who knows? They talk about the M2 compared to the M1 Pro and M1 Max. Up to 32 cores for the Max and 16 cores for the M1 Pro. That's about the GPU. Every time I see GPU, the only thing that I can think of is getting a NVIDIA 30 series. Either I would take a 3060 in a heartbeat, but man, it's bananas how much it costs to get a 3080, 3090, 3070. I still can't get a bead on it, but maybe a listener or a viewer has a connection and can get me a 3000 series or 30 series GPU without breaking my bank. I'm still running on a 1080, by the way. So it does a job, but it doesn't do it like the RTX series. So this next article is over on New York Times. Oops. Sorry for the quiet. The article is titled "Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran Up the Ante and 13 more new songs." And so, Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran duetted on Swift's 2012 song "Everything Has Changed," and then they did it again for Joker and the Queen. And if you haven't gone over to New York Times to read this article, there's a video as well. A couple of them apparently. So I urge you to go over to these sources and read a little bit about it and then come and talk to me. Taylor Swift is redoing her entire portfolio because who she worked with in the past prevented her from basically using her artistic works. Her work product is owned by somebody else, so she has to cut it all over again, even though she is the original artist. But that's licensing for you, and when you sign it all away, like I say about platforms, if your livelihood comes from you being on a platform and the platform stops liking you being there, they can end your career in a heartbeat. And for whatever reason, we haven't made technology possible at a reasonable cost to stream too many from your own website. It's very expensive still. It takes a lot of processing power to stream to multiple locations. So that's why we have sites like YouTube, sites like Twitch. They've got the consolidated technology that affords this to take place. So I hope that Twitch doesn't get sick of me. This next article is on the Mobile channel, and it's titled "More Brew and Less Buzz, the Low Alcohol Beers." And when you click the link, you get taken over to New York Times. While all the attention goes to the extremes, strong ales and alcohol-free beers, craft brewers are increasingly aiming for the sweet spot in the middle. So you'll get strong beers, some of them are 12%. And then there's no alcohol, which in Germany it's actually called Kinder beer. It's very caramelly and tastes really good. But there are some that want lighter than light beer, and there's some people that are producing it, apparently. Partnered with a friend, Matthew Roars, to found Bella Snow Soft Ale, focusing on ales with no more than 2.4% alcohol by volume. So that's kind of a soft blow. It's 4, 5, 6, 7% is pretty standard. Bud Light is 4.2%. So they've got some pictures over here on New York Times. Let me make sure that I give credit. Joshua M. Bernstein is the author for this article, but go and check it out. I mean, there are seltzers that are available and other things that are available that are lower in alcohol by volume than beer, but it has a different taste, and everybody's taste is a little bit different. So go and check it out, and then come on back and talk to me about beer. Let me know what you are interested in. That would be great. This next article is in a channel called Dictioneer. It's actually a service that my company offers, naming products and services. And the way that it works is we ask a bunch of questions about what it is that you are interested in and what the product is or what the service is. And then we come up with a name. And there's in other places, it's very, very expensive. And it's really about marketing and brandability and the legal aspects of trademarks and things like that. So I've always been interested in the construction of new words, particularly in the business sense. And of course, we as humans, we create these words sometimes for horrible intent and sometimes for things as simple as a new product or service. And sometimes we just don't let it go and change our ways. So, again, I'm getting sidelined or distracted, I should say, by other events that go on throughout the day. the word history that they talk about here on wordhistories.net today is jerry builder, and its meaning and its origin. So its origin and meaning is the etymology of the word. When it presented itself, they don't really call it etymology here in this, but one of their tags is folk etymology. Yeah. In slang and its analogs, past and present, printed for subscribers only, 1896. The British lexicographer John, I'm going to pronounce it Stephen, but it could be Stephen Farmer, apparently used the word or integrated the word into this book. Jerry builder, a rascally speculating builder. Run up in the worst materials. That's what jerry built means. And it's kind of like jerry rigging, I would assume. So from a letter by a man signing himself a builder, quoted in the Trades Union Society, published in the Liverpool Mercury and Lancashire General Advertiser in 1833. So this word actually goes all the way back, apparently, to at least 1833. But you can find out more. Go over to wordhistories.net. You won't regret it. It's always interesting to read about the very words that we use each day and how they came to be. This next article is the James Webb Telescope sends home a selfie and 18 images of starlight. The spacecraft recorded a series of images of a target star that will be used to help its mirrors prepare for scientific research. And the James Webb Telescope is going to be fantastic. This time there was no mistake in there's no warp in the lenses. So, yeah, and it's a composite. So it's going to be really neat to see this happen, unfolding decades after planning and hurtling it up into space and everything unfolding. It was pretty interesting to see it all happen. So the spacecraft recorded a series of images of a target star that will be used to help its mirrors prepare for scientific research. And this article was written by Dennis Overby. So 2 months after a dramatic Christmas morning launch and several spine-tingling weeks of gyrations and unfoldings, the James Webb Telescope has achieved what astronomers celebrate as first light. Or first lights, considering, I guess, 18 images. In a constellation Ursa Major known as HD 84406. Well, thank you, Dennis, for writing all this out. And so there are pictures of it over on New York Times, and I don't think everything is there, but if you are interested in astronomy and astrophotography, I was told a long time ago not to rush into astrophotography because the quote that I was told was, they'll all still be there, but actually that's not quite true. I've seen now several stars go supernova that might have been there, but at a smaller intensity, and now they're gone, or different, I should say. They've been gone for a long time, but the supernova and its nebula that it creates are still there, I suppose. But I want to get another telescope and an astrophotography capable camera, because not every camera really is capable of long exposures, and that's what you really want to do. But the James Webb Telescope is going to be something you're going to want to watch. And if you don't have kids, then when you do have kids, you'll want to be able to share all of your experiences that you are gathering up with them and really drive that ambition to learn science and technology. And it's tough to look out there and not be inspired by the magnitude of what humans can do. Eventually we'll be on Mars walking around, and then from there, who knows? So this next article is over on the Mobile channel. And, oh, I already posted it in there. But I thought this was really interesting because I doubt that it would be an issue if crypto had collapsed, but divorcing couples fight over kids, the house, and now crypto. Dividing the family's Bitcoin stash has become a major source of contention in divorce cases. So it's over on New York Times, and they have this neat graphic of a pixelated wedding cake. It's slowly being turned into what I'm assuming would be Bitcoin, little golden little golden squares. It's pretty interesting. The artwork is by Jackson Gibbs, but the article is by David, I think it's Yaffe Bellany, so who covers crypto and fintech. And if you've never heard the term fintech, that's financial tech, financial technology. Typically programming, software development, software engineering. I work with a few people in that area. Many that I have worked with in the past work with middleware that allows for the building software that allows disparate systems to work together. And that happens in fintech quite a bit, as well as medical tech. So this is the divorce dragged on for 8 years, almost as long as the marriage. An 8-year marriage collapsing and taking 8 years to complete the divorce is kind of spectacular. But everybody apparently was fighting over the child support and the house, and then oh gosh, profits from the sale of the husband's software company and the fate of their $3.6 million home. Wow. But then you have to find out about Bitcoin. So let's see. Before he separated from his wife in 2013, the Mister bought 1,000 Bitcoin. So let's see here. So let's assume that it was early in Bitcoin's 2013 existence. That would be somewhere around the $15 range, I'm guessing, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, so, and that kind of blew up and ended up somewhere around $1,100. So if it took 8 years, so they ended it last year and it wasn't resolved, I wonder what the price point was. The court ordered him to give the missus more than $6 million of his remaining Bitcoin. Wow. See, but nobody really complains when everything goes wrong. Well, they do, and that, who knows what the divorce really was caused by. You know, probably somebody working too hard, or not paying enough attention, or lack of communication, or who knows, all kinds of stuff, right? But then all of the good stuff is pulled, you know, in different directions. But the bad is discounted and somebody else's fault. So do yourself a favor and communicate with your spouse, and you know, end your relationship amicably, because your children are going to learn from your separation how to treat people, and hopefully they don't act the same way. But everybody fights for the good side of things. You know, I deserve it, that kind of thing, which is a bummer. Everybody should just split And marriage, if your marriage is built on sharing everything, then when it ends, you better share everything. This next article is in the Word and Tech channel. This is one of the channels that I'd really like to launch an hour-long show and focus on one or two or three topics and not 20 like I do for the daily news show. Rising popularity of VR headsets sparks 31% rise in insurance claims. I thought it was an interesting title. Metaverse gamers crashing into furniture behind increase in home contents claims, says insurer Aviva. A man landing an uppercut on the ceiling fan, a woman slamming into furniture, a guy smashing through a lighting fixture. Gamers are learning virtual reality headsets can often cause havoc at home. And that is why you should have, and it's not really possible, but you need a room for it. You need a room specifically for VR. Behind me is close to 10 feet by 10 feet of space where I can do my VR with relative impunity. If I'm going to punch anything, I'm going to be punching one of those sound panels now, and it's more than likely somebody else doing it, not me. But I can see why claims would be happening, and not just insurance, but medical claims, because you have to go in and get a cast on your hand because you've been punching a wall. Not to mention other things going on. Plus the headset. Who knows if you damage the headset? But VR, I think, it's taking its baby steps. And I really hope that VR keeps growing. I want VR and AR. I want it all to be wireless. And I'm willing to take batteries out and put batteries in again and again and again if I can be wireless. Just do that. Make it wireless and give me battery power and hot swappable battery power. Don't make me shut everything down just to change the batteries. Man, that would be amazing. Hot swappable VR battery powered wireless headset. Come on, you can do it. I want a Valve Index that's wireless and battery powered with, like I said, hot swappable batteries. Do it. This article, by the way, the rising popularity of VR headsets, is on The Guardian, and it's written by Jem Bartholomew. The next article is titled, it's in the Word and Tech as well, Don't Take the Damn Thing. How Spotify playlists push dangerous anti-vaccine tunes. So there's a lot of conspiracy theory about COVID-19 being fake, and that the vaccine is a tracker and makes you magnetic, and maybe you grow a tail or a third arm, both of which I would love because I can do more typing without having to. I could probably add another 100 keystrokes. Plus, with a tail, I've got better balance and can do some parkour a little bit better. No, I don't do parkour anyway. I'm lying. Anyway, so songs that claim COVID is fake and describe the vaccines as poison are being actively promoted to Spotify users in playlists generated by its content recommendation engine. And that is fine. Do it. This is an article over in The Guardian by Shanti Das, I think is pronounced that way. The problem here is songs are songs. And if you filter out this stuff because it's speaking to a particular audience, where do you draw the line? Overt communication where it's factually lies is one thing, but if you take this stance on this music, then why aren't you taking stances in other music where it's promoting violence or it's actually laying claim to violence about one person acting on another person? And there's no identity here in these songs. They're not saying that this person is that and doing this, but there are other songs that do actually, hint at who it is and what is going on. I This one is weird, and this all stems from what's going on with Joe Rogan and how Joe Rogan apparently is the worst of them currently out there talking about the vaccine. And at one point he said that if you're healthy and eating right and young, then you don't have anything to worry about. And that's just factually incorrect. But he says that he's, essentially a dumbass. And I say that he is nothing more than an entertainer, and he doesn't have a medical degree, and he hasn't spent his life trying to save lives. I mean, he's a maybe an MMA fighter. He does color commentary. He's a joker. He's a host, but he gives credibility to people who do outright lie, and have zero facts supporting their claims. And that's the problem. Those are the issues. Music is music, and the lyrics have meaning. But at what point are you going to draw the line? If you're going to start filtering out and calling out Spotify playlists and songs, it's identical to book burning. You might as well why not just lean into it and call it what it really is? You can't get rid of songs because you would have to do the same thing to other things. The context is what matters. And I think it's an untenable position. You can't stop voices. It's very tough. I just heard about, I'm going to get sidetracked, but it doesn't happen just in the United States. I'll put it to you that way. The suppression, the turning off the lights. Again, I refer to a phrase called abuse happens in the dark. At least shedding the light, somebody making songs that call out COVID, at least you know who it is that's doing this. And a reasonable person will discount it you're not going to call that person up and say, hey, let's go have a beer and talk about your COVID songs that are founded in lies and misinformation. You just don't do it. That's how it happens in the real world, right? When you don't have an overabundance of information poured at you, and for whatever reason, you find an affinity with these outright false statements about viruses and about vaccines. In the real world, if you say something, somebody can punch you in the face, and there's laws that stop you, but you can sing whatever the heck you want, wherever you want. You can write in a book, whatever the heck you want, and publish it wherever the heck you want. But it's up to the critical thinker to go, that's all bogus. That's all BS. That's something that I would never read again or endorse. But there are 11 million people following Joe Rogan around on Spotify, and Spotify is taking a hit because people are saying their playlists now are part of the problem. It's not the playlists. It's the people that are creating those false bits of content. Again, if it was your neighbor doing this kind of stuff, you would ignore your neighbor. It's not like you're going to call somebody up and start ranting and raving about your neighbor, saying that COVID is a lie. It's not a lie. There's almost 1 million people dead because of COVID. Anyway, this next article, I have to kind of shut myself down and go on to the next topic. Otherwise, I can keep going. This next article is in the Band to Bezel channel. It's about watches. The Petrolhead Corner, Gordon Murray Automotive T33 sells out fast. And that caught my attention because of the automotive context to it. I've got another channel that I want to launch called Four Wheel Tech, which will involve things like this, pretty much anything automotive. But I haven't clicked this link, and that's what you see happening on the stream and on YouTube, is my real-time reaction to the information that I'm reading for the first time. And everybody goes through this. This is what I'm going through is what other people go through, except that I'm doing it live. And then obviously on YouTube, it's recorded, but click the link. It's all on another site. I link a small snippet to that site. This is on monochrome-watches.com. It's written by Robin Noy. I think it's Noy. It might be Nui. I should probably contact Robin and find out. Gordon Murray Automotive T33 sells out fast. So we have a little bit of experience ourselves in selling out something at an unexpectedly fast rate. Last year, we sold our Montre du Subscription 1 and 2 in mere minutes, and we're astounded by the result. We already dedicated an episode of the Petrolhead Corner to his groundbreaking new T50, and now he's back with a slightly less advanced but still very capable T33. Wow. So I'm really curious, how much does this cost? And we'll keep on going down here. Let's see. And the numbers don't even lie. Even by today's standards, a naturally aspirated 6.1 liter BMW V12 producing 620 bhp is brake horsepower if you're not a motorhead. Extensive use of carbon fiber, a gold-lined engine bay. All right. Top speed of 386 kilometers per hour. 3-seater interior. That's interesting. Okay. Well, they have a really long article, and I like these long articles, but you'll have to read it. And 1.37 pounds, million pounds, sorry, 1.37 million pounds, and only 100 will ever be built. Neat. So, as you can tell, it says there's still plenty of money left in the world to spend on hypercars, it seems. So Monochrome Watches doesn't necessarily have all the time watch stuff, but you can bet that the watches that they talk about based on this article, and I've highlighted them in previous episodes, but in this episode, this one is about a car, very expensive car, but they have really expensive watches on there too. This next article is in the Warcrafters channel, and the Warcrafters channel is about basically first-person shooters, role-playing games, discussions, and where things would be streamed when a game is playing. There's others that are intermixed within ohmTown, but Warcrafters is where a lot of news gets aggregated. In this case, it's about NFT marketplace halts transactions due to quote-unquote rampant counterfeiting. Cent is an American NFT marketplace best known for hosting the auction of an NFT of former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's first tweet, one of the earliest NFTs to sell for over $1 million worth of crypto. But it's now had to halt its transactions because of counterfeit digital assets. Well, when somebody can take anything, and I've seen streamers now, images of streamers being sold as an NFT, and the streamer doesn't even know it. I've told a couple of streamers that they have had an NFT of them posted on a trading platform, and I'm not even going to talk about it other than that. And a lot of people are catching wind that all you have to do is take a picture and post it as an NFT. And if somebody's interested in it, they'll buy it at whatever value, and it can be bought and sold again and again, however anybody wants to sell it. So click the link, you go over to PC Gamer. The article's written by Jody McGregor. And we realize that a lot of it is just money chasing money. And that's identical to the stock market, for crying out loud. Money begets money, and there's zero value in that. People get rich. Day trading, I used to do it. I couldn't find value in it. You could create wealth, but not necessarily value. And then you just have more money than you need, and you end up, spending it and passing it on. It becomes generational wealth where the next generation doesn't have to worry about a job. But that's not necessarily, needed as a society. But we've got billionaires here that, could darn near own a small country. Well, anyway, they're going to hold off on trades, on sales of their NFTs to assess this. It kept happening. We would ban offending accounts, but it was like we were playing a game of whack-a-mole, which is, I've heard that phrase more than once when it comes to counterfeiting. But it would probably be on par and right at home with the, I've got another channel called Right Protect that I'm interested in co-hosting with somebody that is involved in copyright, trademark, patents. But OpenSea is the one where I saw, I wasn't going to name it, but they talk about it in this article. OpenSea is the one that I saw the NFTs of streamers that they didn't even know that their identity is up for sale, literally. Just a screenshot of them. Well, anyway, go over to PC Gamer and you can read more about this. I'm just giving some more context to the news that's already there. Another article in the Warcrafters channel is about Lost Ark. And yesterday there were close to 700,000 people simultaneously playing or concurrently playing Lost Ark. And I was one of them multiple times throughout the day. But Lost Ark now has broken 1 million players, becoming the top Steam game by concurrent players, which is fantastic. It actually is a really fun game. While some people are really hardcore into it, there's a lot of talk about pay to win and things like that. But the people that are talking about it are as being pay to win are the players that have a different ambition, right? So they want to be world first, or they want to show that they are really hardcore into it and they're playing nonstop, for 48 hours straight and getting to max level and going through the grind of bosses, because you don't really mess with the end game bosses until you're level 50. And it's not like it was with WoW. There's actually a big story, and it's a massive world, and It's an interesting game. It's a really fun game. It has a neat story. Well, let me click this link so that you can get to the site and the author. So this is it's on the PCGamer.com website, and it's by Jody McGregor. Today's peak was 1.3 million players, putting it at second place by all-time concurrence. Wow. So if you didn't know about it, on Friday is when it unlocked to the public, to everybody. There was for early adopters, there was a time where you could play it a couple of days before the 11th. But when the 11th came, something happened. Things weren't synced or something, and the server didn't come live the way that they wanted it to. But since then, I have not had any delays getting into ArcAge, even with it apparently being 1.3 million concurrent users. So they've done it right. Smilegate, I think, has been doing it right. And as long as they keep on doing it right, they'll probably win my award, at least, which isn't really much, but my appreciation for launching a game and it being stable. I haven't had any crashes. I haven't had any lags. I mean, it's been a great experience so far, but I'm also not, streaming the game, and I'm not having a massive following in the game. But there are things that I haven't even gotten to yet. I'm only level 25 or something. So I think it's pretty neat. So congratulations. And now it's officially in, wait. Let's talk more numbers. While this total doesn't put Lost Ark in the same league as PUBG, or as it's now officially and ridiculously known as PUBG Battlegrounds, which set the record for most simultaneous players on Steam with a total of 3.2 million back in 2018. Wow. Puts it ahead of Cyberpunk 2077, which people didn't even, I mean, people ate up Cyberpunk 2077 and then panned it later. But let's move on. This next article is under Breaking Prose, which is about writing and storytelling. Here are our top tips on self-editing and 10 questions to ask if you're planning to hire a professional editor. Let me post that link. So the article is written by Joellen Nordstrom, and it's over on prowritingaid.com. And if you are an aspiring writer, that is a website to check out. It is one of the few that I aggregate little snippets into Breaking Prose. And my advice to anybody who's self-editing is hire an editor or find somebody that you entrust with your work, and they are dedicated to grammar. So I hand my writing to my wife, who crushes my spirit with a red pen and a brilliant eye for corrections. So don't try and do it yourself, because what happens is, and it's one of the reasons why people will hire me to do strategic management, is because I don't see your operation day to day. My wife doesn't see my writing every day. And when you do see your writing, you fill in the blanks. Psychologically, you know what you want to say. And so you tend to answer your own questions, fill in your own blanks. And that's where a lot of issues pop up. So you want an editor to be able to read through your stuff and, without worry of harming your feelings, correct you. And it's important. It's a learning tool as well. So I'll let you go over to Pro Writing Aid and read that, and then you can come back, talk to me in chat, or post something on by following the link. Go over to ohmTown following that link, and you'll be able to become a citizen of ohmTown, make comments to all of these headlines, and engage in the community. So they get into the questions, what's your experience and things like that. But I'm not going to go through the whole article. I want you to go over to that article and come back and talk to me. So the next article is Amazon is working on a Blade Runner TV series with Ridley Scott producing. So I hope that this comes to fruition. But I want long-term shows. I want shows like Star Trek and its many iterations. I just want long-term. I wish Firefly would return. I'm not, obviously the actors are going to have to change. But I want long-term sci-fi and more of it. So this is an article by PC Gamer. The writer is Ted Litchfield, and it has a little byline. Well, it has a little byline. This replicant will never be retired. So I want to remind everybody who might be watching this or listening to the podcast or in my stream, PC Gamer does an audio extension of this. And so you can actually listen to it kind of like a podcast, but it's straight from their website. They might actually have a podcast, but I haven't looked it up yet. But according to Deadline, who is the lead, I guess, for this article, Amazon Studios is fast-tracking development on a Blade Runner TV show, tentatively titled Blade Runner 2099. Just leave the numbers off. With the original movie's director Ridley Scott as executive producer. So this is going to be interesting. I hope it comes to fruition. I gotta pause that video. So go over there and read it. You can listen to the article if you want to, obviously, over on pcgamer.com. Amazon is working on a Blade Runner TV series with Ridley Scott. This next article is Smack Talk. It's in the Smack Talk channel, but its title is Apple VR could offer Memoji FaceTime share play experiences. The Apple VR AR headset could take advantage of Memojis to provide a great FaceTime experience, a report offers, with SharePlay providing a communal experience in a digital world. Well, that'll be interesting. This is obviously a render, what you're seeing on the stream and on YouTube. This article was written by Malcolm Owen. There is no evidence short of discussion. Nobody has seen an Apple AR VR headset as far as I know. But anything, if it's going to come out of Apple, it's going to be pricey, typically high quality. I hope that they do what I've said already, which is, well, they'll never have rechargeable batteries or a battery pack. My goodness, I don't even know what they're going to do for their charging system. If it's like their mouse, you'll never be able to power it or plug it in and still use it, like the mouse. And it'll be in an inconvenient spot, like right on the bridge of your nose, but on the inside, so you can't actually wear them while they're plugged in. I hope they do it right and not something wonky for whatever reason. But man, just make it so that I can do it wirelessly. Even if I have to run a line down my back to a battery pack in my pocket, just make it so it's wireless and I can do hot swappable batteries. I will keep saying that until everybody tells me to shut up about it. The AR headset is thought to launch in late 2022 or 2023 with a price that could exceed $2,000 per headset. I'd pay it if it has what I want, which is no wires. Please, no wires. That's it. That's all I want. No wires. And the battery pack. This next article is over in the Warcrafters channel. Here's a look at the Harkonnens in Dune Spice Wars. So this is a game that's coming to fruition, and we'll follow this link. It's an article written by Jonathan Bolding. Here's a look at the Harkonnens in Dune Spice Wars. Hurt yourself to hurt your enemies worse. It's over on PC Gamer, with Dune Spice Wars bringing back a setting that basically defined the RTS for 20 years. There's a few things we know for sure. One of them is that there will be Atreides and Harkonnens. And that was basically the core of Dune anyway. And the new movie, the one on Apple, is just, it's spectacular. It was wonderful cinematography. Great storytelling, great world building. I want more, and I want it to go beyond just two. My understanding is that it's just a two-parter, but it needs more. Dune is another one, just like Blade Runner. It needs more building, more. That's all I want. More. But because this is a great, the Dune book is a great book, but there's so much more to it. And there are other books that are in the Dune saga, and it's been expanded on, but we need it turned into cinema. We need it turned into something that I can watch on TV again and again with the audio turned up all the way, so I can feel those explosions and using the voice, which was just a spectacular embodiment in the movie. But we will see about the game. I am hoping that the game is going to be good too. The next article is in Band to Bezel. My wife won't let me wear her 36 millimeter Rolex Oyster Perpetual. So I'm going to click the link here. I've never owned a Rolex. I've actually put a few on, but I wear a smartwatch, and I can appreciate the engineering and the aesthetics of watches. And that's why I actually want a show that speaks about watches and just highlights the engineering and the artistry and the mechanics, the engineering, and the people that are really into it. I've seen more than a few videos on YouTube about people that are, buying, selling, trading watches in the streets of New York and shops and hotel rooms and stuff. It's a pretty wild world out there, where $150,000 can trade hands for a watch in a matter of seconds, simply because people are that passionate about it. And then people get to hang out and talk about it and show off their watch. I remember being struck by this. This is a quote in the article. Let me scroll up here and say who it's by. Danny Milton on Hodinkee.com. My wife won't let me wear her 36 millimeter Rolex Oyster Perpetual, but man, have I tried to get this one on my wrist. Let's see if there's something interesting in here that I can talk about. If that's the watch, it's pretty neat. I haven't seen this. No, okay, so it is just different styles. So yeah, I dig the watch. My style is more the skeleton watches. I like to see the inner workings, the mechanicals of them. Maybe they got the back is still mechanical, or I should say skeletonized so that I can see the back of it. But nope. Anyway, so I'm going to scroll down real fast. I'm really sorry if it makes you dizzy. I know a $200 Seiko is not the same as a nearly $6,000 Rolex, but isn't the sentiment similar? Is anyone with me on this? Yeah, probably not people who like Rolexes. So if it's it's almost $6,000. In a perfect world, I would spend $5,800 on my own silver dial OP out of sheer spite and or maturity. So I'm going to scroll up real quick. I'm really sorry. But there it is, a $6,000 watch. I don't think I like the lighting on it, but okay. So this next article is Smack Talk. It's all about deals. It's in a Smack Talk. It's in the Smack Talk channel, and it's talking about daily deals. And a $500 13-inch Core i5 MacBook Pro is a great deal. It's over on Apple Insider. It's written by Apple Insider staff, so it must be a composite thing put together by everybody. They talk about new sales, but what I wanted to draw attention to was the fact that you can get an Intel MacBook Pro, not the M1, an Intel MacBook Pro i5 for with 8 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabyte SSD. It's refurbished, but it's $500. And if you want something that can get you into the Apple ecosystem, and it's an older generation, get this. Unfortunately, you won't get the benefits of the M processor, but you're in the Apple ecosystem. And it's reliable, it's high quality, it's SSD. It's not that much in terms of storage, but you may not need it. Plus, with iCloud, you can store things out there and do restores if something happens to your local computer. And if you want to move up, this thing will still retain a lot of its value. You could probably cover 75% of its value if you resell it on something like eBay, and then use that money to get yourself into the entry-level M1, and then just do a restore from the cloud to this MacBook, to your new MacBook or MacBook Pro. And it's seamless. It's frictionless. I've never had a problem, knock on wood, that now that I said something, it'll probably destroy itself the next time I do a restore. But I'm also going to draw attention to this. Anker Nano 65 watt USB-C charger. You cannot go wrong with Anker products, in my estimation. And I've got chargers that are from Anker that are like a decade old, and maybe longer than that. I can't remember my oldest Anker product, but it's a juggernaut and charges lightning quick. I just can't speak highly enough for Anker or its cables. So, but let's keep moving on. This next article is in the Word in Tech. And I guess today's word is OLED. If you want true blacks, you get an OLED panel. Alienware's upcoming QD OLED monitor has a price tag of $1,300. I'm rounding up $1. And when you click the link, it's over on The Verge, written by Emma Roth, and it's a curved QOLED monitor for $1,300. 34 inches though. So comes with a Samsung panel. Sorry, I got an itch on my face. And it looks great. Not everybody's going to really want or need a 32-inch curved monitor, But when you get these on your desk, like I've got a 27-inch curved monitor, and then I've got two, one on each side, as well as two up above like that. And it doesn't look curved to me. It looks, I mean, I know that it is curved, and I can actually see a slight curve, but the bigger the monitor, the bigger the curve is going to be. But you sit in the sweet spot, and so you get the angle of attack that is required for that screen, so that you don't get any lighting fluctuations, because you're looking at the pixels in an off angle, which is just a big problem to me. I see it when I'm looking at large screens from dead center. And if you don't spend, $5,000, $8,000 on a really, really nice big screen, you see lighting issues in the corners and along the edges sometimes. So you're getting what you pay for, really. And a $1,300 gaming PC that's 34 inches is going to pay for itself if you really appreciate your displays. And they go into greater detail about what QD OLED and OLED is. But it's going to have a 1400 resolution, a 3440 by 1400 resolution, and 175 hertz refresh rate, with a max brightness of 1000 nits. And if you're not getting a monitor with a 0.1 millisecond response rate, then I really don't know what's going on. I have yet to see a monitor that has something greater than that, and still be popular. And $1,300, but whatever. Again, I don't necessarily know everything. I don't know everything. Okay, so this next article is in the Word and Tech. A Russian teenager jailed over Minecraft plot to blow up virtual spy headquarters. So a boy who is 16 years old is sentenced to 5 years for alleged plan to target FSB building created in computer game. So this is the link. And it's in the Guardian. And let's see. A Russian teenager has been sentenced to 5 years. The ruling falls into a broader pattern under Putin, in which young Russians are put behind bars on controversial and preemptive terrorism charges in a penal colony on charges of training for terrorist activities. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. The silence coming from me is because I find it fascinating that this even exists. But maybe there's something that I'm missing. I don't agree with it. I don't get it. The hearing was held behind closed doors. Uvarov and two other teenagers in the Siberian city of Kansk were detained in the summer of 2020 for spreading leaflets in support of a Moscow mathematician and anarchist activist who was on trial for vandalism. And they put one of the leaflets on a local building of the FSB, Russia's powerful domestic security agency and successor of the KGB. They took their phones, found an exchange about plans to blow up an FSB building that they had created in the popular block building game Minecraft. So yeah, it goes a little deeper in the article. So maybe they were planning to bring it into the real world. And as I've said in other instances, therein lies the problem. Rationally, you don't play a game and decide that you're going to go and blow up a building. And it becomes a sociological problem. And the individual problem is a psychological problem. They lack the coping skills to deal with the issues, and they lack the opportunity to step away from what is going to be a life-changing, ruinous decision. And so society needs to make it clear that doing that kind of action is not an option, and that there are other things that can be done. But they may not be done. And at some point, people lash out because there are no other options for effective change. This last article is in Hatch Ideas. Basically it is a discussion stream about business, small business in particular, your business. I'm hopeful that you will want to talk to me about your particular business, and we can solve maybe problems that your business might be having and hype up your business and draw some attention to it. Particularly, I'm interested in, it doesn't matter. I'm interested in all forms of entrepreneurship, and I'm willing to talk with you about your business. In this particular channel, in the Hatch Ideas channel, my aggregator grabbed an article from The Guardian titled "The Numbers Don't Lie, Why No Tipping Policies Can Hurt U.S. Restaurant Workers." And it says there's no argument that a tipping model has its problem, but without it, some restaurants can't absorb the higher costs of wages. And that, I'm going to click the link, but I'm going to take a stab at this as what the real problem is. So we've built a culture around tipping as part of the salary for people working in the food service industry. The higher costs are going to come anyway, particularly now with inflation increasing, and suppliers of food saying, well, I hate to break it to you, but the days of cheap food are over. That's a quote. I'd have to go and find out where that quote comes from. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Unfortunately, there might be some dead air while I look for this. And so this person said, let's see, where is it? Well, Larry Elliott said it back in 2012, but there was one recently said, and I really can't find it right now, unfortunately. But yeah, there was a statement that I heard basically saying the days of cheap food are over. And this was in the middle of the pandemic, and prices were starting to increase anyway. And now we've got just overt inflation. So what's going to have to happen is, if we're going to get rid of tipping, which doesn't exist in many European places, if not all across Europe, I've been to a few countries, and I don't recall tipping was even wanted, right? But what's going to happen is we're going to have to do a cultural shift and move away from tipping, because the people in food service, they're not getting a livable wage unless there is business coming into the restaurant. And so the owner may be able to afford to, run the business and feed themselves. But the people who are working food service and they don't get enough tips, they can't pay their rent. Well, it can't be like that. It just can't. If somebody wants to tip, fine. But the base pay for somebody really needs to be a livable wage. And unfortunately, a lot of industries think that a position in food service where you're doing service is, the bottom of the barrel. And so they're paying $7.50 an hour, and then you graciously allow us to get tips. And it's just in the wrong market, in the wrong place, in the smallest town, you're not making anything. and it's always surprising that our minimum wage does not pay even close to a wage that somebody can pay a one-room rental in most markets, let alone in a big city with a lot of competition. Well, and that's where we're going to end today's stream. I don't think that tipping will go away in the United States anytime soon. And that's all because it is a glacier that's going to move so slow. This article, by the way, the numbers don't lie, why tipping policies can hurt, why no tipping policies can hurt U.S. restaurant workers, is written by Gene Marks. Go over to The Guardian and read this article. And the link is both in this stream, in the VOD, and it's going to be on YouTube, and it will be in the description for the Apple podcast when it hits. But I'll be posting somewhere around 40 podcast episodes over the next coming weeks. This one, I won't be able to play catch up. Kind of imagine 2 episodes a week being posted, and so that's train A, and then I do a daily stream on Twitch, and so at some point that train B and train A will meet, but where that is, you'll have to do the math. So 20 days out means 20 additional episodes, so probably around a month from now, this episode will end up, or I should say, the daily posting will happen in about a month, where it'll be posted to YouTube. It'll be posted to Apple Podcasts as well. And in all of these places, the links will be included, including on the website at ohmTown.com. Okay. And that's where we're going to end this. And if you're in my chat, thank you very much for coming. And if you end up watching this over on YouTube, thank you there. And of course, follow and give me some feedback. Let me know what you want changed, what you find of value. My humor is kind of built around having audience interaction. I don't have a host. I don't have a co-host with me to riff off of. And so I do this live. I don't plan it, but I could plan it and add more color commentary. But I prefer doing it live and seeing it for the first time with you in my chat. So come and visit me on Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/ohmTown. So thank you very much, and I will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern.